and all that, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingveld Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, SimJack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often.
Brakes are one of the most important parts of a race car, and serious racers know this to be true. In sim racing, brakes are just as important as in real-life racing. But even if you have a great pedal set with a killer D-Nut Stuff brake mod installed, there is still one thing you need to win races: consistency. Introducing Brake Marker Buddy, a D-Nut Stuff sim hub app with a corny name for iRacing that can help a lot with braking consistency. Brake Marker Buddy is an overlay that gives you visual cues when you are at your braking points. Set as many brake markers around the track as you need and never overshoot a braking point again. Listen, nothing can magically find your braking points for you. Brake Marker Buddy doesn't do that. What it will do is make you more consistent, and consistency wins races.
Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
I can't count the times a race has been ruined by an AI car. The default iRacing AI drives like you are not even there much of the time. If you're like me, you want AI that is fun to race, not a demolition derby. I have spent a ton of time adjusting these AI rosters to make them as realistic as possible. The D-Nut Stuff adjusted AI rosters are more like racing a real person. The adjusted AI rosters will drive much, much cleaner than the default settings. Check them out. You won't regret it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Muscle Series on slow motion broadcasting. Welcome to Belgium, where the roar of racing engines once again fills the air at the legendary Circuit Zolder. This historic venue has been a cornerstone of European motorsports for decades, known for its technical layout, fast corners, and relentless rhythm. The key to a fast lap here is momentum. Drivers need to be aggressive over the curbs while maintaining enough control to carry speed through the technical sections. With several heavy braking zones and opportunities to get alongside a rival, the racing can be intense from the opening lap to the checkered flag. I am joined by my colleague, Charles Bochel, and Racing Ron Maunz in the truck. Charles, does Zolder have great chicanes or the best chicanes?
James, that's a good question. I guess it depends on how much you like chicanes. For me, as a driver, running races here, not my favorite as far as chicanes go. They are very, very difficult. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of time to really kind of get the feel for these. It's a fun track to drive. The rest of the track's actually not that bad. With the chicanes just make it just increase the level of difficulty up to about a 7 or 8. But everything else, that I think maybe the pit entry, pit exit are a little difficult to get right. But otherwise, this is a fun track to drive, and it is quite a bit different from its bigger brother, that'd be Spa. So we'll see how these drivers get along tonight with these chicanes, as well as you're right, the momentum that you're going to have to need to make it successfully around this track.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's interesting that you bring up the bigger brother Spa. I hadn't really thought of that, but that is very true, that this track, has some of the elements of that. Not quite all of them. The elevation's not quite as intense as Spa, obviously, coming around the first couple turns. The chicane that I absolutely dread is number 5, the Klein chicane. It is an intense experience. As you can see here, we're watching a car go through it right here. You have an incredibly quick left and right that most people cut. It's a little easier to cut it in these Ford race cars here. They're not quite open wheel. These are a little more robust with a suspension that can handle some of that, as you see the Evel Knievel of David Moore, number 13, just making his way through that like butter. It's actually pretty impressive. I'm used to more of an open wheel race car, and so going over those chicanes is a little bit terrifying on the suspension. Ooh, get a little squirrely there. But I think that these cars can handle a little more banging over some of those curbs. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they can. I think that the chicanes they'll be able to deal with pretty well. Obviously, these cars, lots and lots of roll in these, so they'll probably handle the chicanes. Some of the curbs actually might be a little tricky here, and I haven't driven an open wheel car here. I do have a couple of wins in the old Porsche Cup car, so it is not an unfamiliar track. And then I did some 23-hour charity race for some streamer at some point in time, and spent 6 hours of my life in a Volkswagen Jetta through here. So I've had a little taste of everything around here. But yeah, once again, we may see some difficulties with some of the curbs. But yeah, I don't think the chicanes will be much problem. I think the bigger thing is it's real easy to get slowdowns and off tracks through those chicanes, and that might be the bigger hurdle these guys are going to have to deal with tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think so. We're going to take a look at some of the championship points here. We've got the 3 different divisions, which can be a lot of fun when they're all out on the same track. The Pro, which we're seeing here, represented by the green, we have Luis Enriquez at the top there with 327 points. A little bit of a gap here between number 1 and number 2, Neil Kemp. And then we have Jeffrey Schnackel, Belling, Ballant coming in through 5. David Moore at 256 points. So it's pretty even, except for the very top. Enriquez looks very, very strong, I would say, here in the Pro division. Let's take a look at the Challengers. They will be represented by the blue cars out on the track. And again, they're all racing together, so you can see a Challenger ahead of a Pro or maybe behind an AM, which would not be ideal. Andy Bell up there at 286 points. Right on the tail there is Joe Cicchetti. Jeff Andrus, 268. So very, very little separation. 255 is Brennan, and Hosey is at 244. So there's not much separation at all. As a matter of fact, number 7 and number 8, Miller and Nickham, are tied at 216 points. So very, very tight field here. Opportunities for everybody to make a move in the championships here. It is up for grabs, I would say, in the Challenger division. In the amateurs, we have Andrew Kosick at 308 points with a fairly wide margin, I would say, to Tom Wendt, 252. Colin Olson, 221. Things tighten up a little bit between Olson and Brandon Carl. And Jeff Besnard is 185. Right on the tail of him is Paul Candlin. So the standings here are, I would say, in the Pro and in the AM, there's a bit of a separation between 1 and 2, but in the Challenger, man, that is tight racing there.
Yeah, it really is. It's very tight in that Challenger class. But, I'm just kind of looking at it that, we're in round 7. So I don't think that anybody's just got anything wrapped up yet. It won't take much. And I was kind of looking down the list. I didn't see a couple of drivers. I think Jeffrey Schnackel is not here. I didn't see his name, and I think he's running 3rd in the points. So not going to make any points tonight, and that's part of it is you have to deal with it. Maybe they're drop rounds. That's a good question. I'm asking myself on the air, and we'll see if somebody gives us an answer. But nothing set in stone yet. Still lots to play for here, and I don't think anybody's got a lead that's safe at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think with those kind of point standings that anybody is safe. It is very, very tight. Taking a look at the qualifying here, we've got Ballant at the top here running a 138.9. Coming in second right now is Belling with a 139.2. So there's a bit of a separation there, 0.3. And then a couple tenths after that is Enriquez, who just put up a faster time. He was just a little bit behind Kemp there. Kemp is coming in at a 139.4, which is exactly pretty much the same time, within almost a thousandth of Enriquez. So very, very tight at the top there. I would say like about a half second, 0.6, somewhere in there. But Hosey is impressive. Hosey is running in 6th place overall and well at the top of the Challenger division. He's running a 139.8. So he is less than a second off of the lead in the pace here. So if Hosey can pull off times like that, he is gonna be very, very difficult to deal with for Michael Brennan. And then all the way down in 11th is Freddie Weaver, which is actually still very impressive. But with the time that Hosey's putting up, it's going to be difficult for Weaver to get up there.
Yeah, it really is. And if you look down the timing tower there, most everybody from P1 down to P23, actually I take that back, as it adjusts down to P26, no gaps larger than a half second. The first one there is, I believe that's Eschman there in P27 that's about 5 or 6 tenths off. And so you just goes to show you how tight the battle is here. 2 tenths is not a lot for a minute 40 lap. So those are really tight margins there, and that just means that these cars are going to probably be stuck together for quite a while, at least in the early going. Until naturally we kind of spread out a little bit, and you'll see some drivers make mistakes, and that'll kind of open gaps up, and that's usually where it comes from, is a driver error, either getting a slowdown or being in a collision.
Absolutely, I think that you're absolutely right on that. There's some of the times here are hard to wrap your brain around. Like, yep. You have the fastest time is a 1:39.8, and then you get onto 20th place, and you are a 1:41.3. So we are talking like an incredibly close split between 20 cars. So this could be amazing, entertaining racing, or it could be disastrous around a few of these corners. Some of the notes that we have here, I'm going to actually pause that. Let's talk about a little bit about the starting grid here. We got a starting grid already. It looks like Ballant and Belling are going to be 1 and 2, both putting up great times. Enriquez and Kemp, who pretty much put up the same time, are in the 3 and 4. On the next row is going to be Finch and Hosey. Porter and Moore, 7 and 8. Brennan, there's your first challenger, and Fernandez in the 9 and 10 spot. 11 and 12 will be Wolf and Weaver. Then we're moving down into the 13 and 14. Thomsen, Cicchetti, there's another challenger there. Bray and Kennedy will be in the next row. Bell and Bast will be 17 and 18. 19 is Smith, and your first amateur will be Brandon Carl in the 20 spot. Sancinelli will be 21. Nickham in 22. Cossack in 23. And Miller will be in 24. Going down a little bit further down the grid, we have Jansen and Gazenda, and that's 25-26. Eichmann, Wiseman, then we have Wendt, Labano, Besnard, Casey, Cantillon, and finally Andres in the 34 spots. We're going to put 34 cars on the grid here as they are lining up ready to go. The colors of the American Muscle Series here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Beautiful cars here as we await the red lights. This will be a 1-pit race, so they have limited fuel, and they will indeed be pitting on this thing. So get ready for that. Here we go with the lights, and we are counting down 2, 1. We are off, and we are racing in Belgium. Let's take a look here. We've got Ballant in first place, Enriquez with an excellent start here. Kemp moves into third, and they are coming around the first corners here. It's going to take a bit to get these tires warm. Everybody looks pretty good. Ballant in first place still, Enriquez and Kemp Belling behind him. Pretty clean, I would say, off the start here. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Good start by everybody. I do see Mike Nickham down about 8 positions from the beginning. Don't like he got a really good start. And John Casey already with a meatball flag, and it's kind of looking like that. Maybe, I don't know. That's weird because he hasn't crossed the start-finish line. So I'm wondering if maybe he popped the engine on the takeoff there and has kind of ruined his race before he really even got started. But good start by pretty much everybody else as they're already getting single file. Did hear that this was going to take a couple laps for these tires to get up to the proper temp. So we may see a little squirming, especially as we work through these chicanes.
Yeah, the rumor has it takes about 3 laps on this course to get those tires up. I'm very, very impressed by these guys. What a great start out of the American Muscle Series here. Ballant, Enriquez had a good one. And Enriquez is up a spot. Kemp there. Belling down 2, unfortunately. I'm not real sure what happened. It looks like Eichmann's got a yellow. The rumor on this one as well is that the track limits are punishing. Very punishing. So you should watch out for that, especially on the tail end of these ones. It could be very difficult. Looks like Ron Wolf achieved a slowdown there as well. Looks like Belling's got a yellow. So you got to watch out for these things. In a race where people are between 1 to 20 is less than 2 seconds. You get yourself a slowdown, and you're either going to have to be a tactical son of a gun, or you're going to make someone awfully mad, right?
Exactly.
This is going to be real tricky. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and you saw Belling there in the background, kind of go wide, run it through the gravel a little bit, held up the 42 car of David Finch. Finch able to get by, and Belling dropping a position, but clearing his slowdown in the process. So he has got that cleared. You still see Aaron Bray there with the yellow that indicates he's got to slow down. Finally gets that cleared, but you see the time change on there as he goes into the white. 1.5 second gap between him and Andy Bell. As we start doing a little curb hopping here in that first
Look at them over those corners. My goodness. They're just the way that these cars can take those corners is crazy. Oh, and we have an off right in a terrible spot, right in the chicane there. That's in the Klein chicane, and thankfully held the brakes. Everybody made it around. It looks like I didn't see any catastrophe, but that is Brandon Carl, and I can't think of a worse place to put that one. Here's the replay of it. Coming down, heading into 5, the Klein chicane here, and just loses the back end. Little aggressive. Held the brakes, though. Everyone had an opportunity to at least see the predictable where is the car stopped situation. So, man, that was very close. We're looking at Freddie Weaver here, and Freddie Weaver gets pit maneuvered there, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think Freddie kind of moved back in line at the very last minute and then stabbed the brakes. And we're going to get a look at Ron Wolf here as he just goes straight through. And is he going into the pits, or he just missed his braking point? I guess he missed his braking point, and now he's decided that's not what I want to do.
He's looking at his Garmin, trying to figure out whether or not that's an acceptable route back to his destination. I don't think it was, though, because he put the ripcord on that one. Wolf, I think was unfortunately the person that collided in the rear there with Brandon Carl, and then Wolf lost it. So maybe his brakes were a little bit lost, or maybe he just got a little distracted, or maybe he was on the radio. But
what?
Hard to believe some of this all in a row here. But you look at the leader here, Berlant has separated 2.7 seconds, just driving a great race here and staying out of the mess behind him. You know, that's one of the best ways to stay safe, is just to leave everyone else behind you.
Well, and that's true. And I was about to say, we might want to find out how that gap occurred. And Luis Enriquez is all the way, and he just goes straight through as well. And then crashed into the barrier on top of that. So
is that the pit exit there?
Nice pit entry.
It is a pit entry there.
Yeah, it's pit entry, but it's like, okay, and now he's just speeding. So that's I think he's a little mad at himself at this point, but it looks like that right front is just broken, and there we go. Yeah. So that was from bad to worse, as now Enriquez is now in the pits as well. But that's where that gap came from, obviously. Him running in second place and then just absolutely blowing the braking zone there straight into pit entry, as we see Belling now with a black flag. So what is going on with Belling?
Holy smokes.
How did he get a black flag?
Going back to Enriquez there, are we watching a replay here of Belling, or is this is live with Belling here? So Belling with a black flag is going to have to pit, I assume. Something's going on there that is not good, unless that's usually the slowdown is reflected by a yellow flag. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, and I was checking race control as well just to see, and I don't see anything. I don't see anything in race control of him getting a penalty or anything like that. So I'm not really sure what's going on. But I don't think I didn't see a yellow flag coming up. The only thing I can indicate for a black flag would be incident points, or in 17X being our limit. So if it's incident points, that's one thing. The other thing would be not serving the slowdown penalty in time. And so I didn't see a yellow come up, so I don't know if that was it or not.
There's been so many yellows though. Like the yellows have been up and down, and that's an excellent point. If he failed to serve his slowdown, then that could definitely do it. It looks like Eichmann, unfortunately, of the amateur division, has crashed a couple times. So he's out. And the story so far, though, is Enriquez is just he pretty much did the iRacing equivalent of a rage quit there, slammed the car into the pit. And that was it. Here is Eichmann. It looks like his car is already in pieces. That looks like Chevy Chase was driving that thing. Vacation. We might have maybe a video from the crash before here while the car was still functioning. Third tries the charm here for producer Josh Wilkie in the truck. Yeah, this is going to be it for sure here. Yep, and that one's going to do it. Yep. There it is, man. That Klein chicane. Just I had bragged that these cars could do whatever they wanted over that, and
maybe not.
Not so much. Right? But man, the leaders are just sending it over that thing. But you look at the events. Is that are we bump drafting here? Holy smokes! These guys are right on top of each other. But you have all sorts of stuff going on here as far as off tracks go. It's like non-stop on this.
It really is. And Belling is going to have to come into the pits here in the next, I think, maybe one more lap. It feels like he's been out there as we got another car around. That's Andy Bell. As he gets his car pointed back in the proper direction. So he's back underway, and we'll get a look here, and we'll see that pesky chicane once again, and just that time, just a little too much. I think he was on the wrong angle when he hit the second part of that chicane, and the rear just as he hit the curb just let loose. So another one, and here comes bailing in now. And somebody else as well. I see somebody else coming into the pits in front of him.
So the real question that we have here is this too early for fuel? I know that this is a limited fuel track here, but can Belling go in this early at 8 minutes into a 40-minute race and make it to the end without another pit? I don't think he intended to pit this early. I think a black flag was making him. But whether or not he can make it to the end of this particular race is going to be the real question here. I know that these cars can do it because we did the last race with a full tank and they went the whole way. But this could be a little bit difficult. Looks like Cossack is falling down here in the rankings, and I think that's as a result of him with a bit of a crash there. It doesn't look like his car's too damaged. He's got some speed still on it. Let's take a look at this. This is Cossack in the red, and Cossack. Sancinelli in front, just completely losing it, trying to make it there, and there must have been some sort of contact that Cossack engaged in, but I mean, honestly, not his fault, right? Like he did everything that he possibly could to avoid that. Sancinelli cooked the tires on this one, though.
Yeah, he did indeed, as you see. I think maybe the blue car there that was on the outside maybe caused him to just a quick stab of the brakes, which kind of let all the weight forward and unsettled the rear. So just as a reaction to the car that was on the outside, kind of dipped down toward the apex, and we'll give everybody pause when you see something like that. So so did a good job of hanging on to it, and as well as Cossack doing a good job of not getting into the back of him. So a good bit of driving by a couple of those drivers. Did see a couple of cars, I think. Did we see them? It almost looked like they cut the chicane, but maybe not. So although we would see that on the timing tower. But yeah, everybody's still running. We're on board here with Bestard as we're coming out of turn 1 into 2 and 3, and this is just a momentum section of the track, and it's a rhythm section, I guess is the better term. Is you just need to carry and get your rhythm set up and make these corners and carry as much speed as you can. But it's a fun set of corners there. This one's a little tricky. You try and get back on the power, and you end up, as you saw with one of those cars, to get into that gravel over there as you just push outward trying to get back on throttle. And it's we are going to get another replay here. Paul Cantlin. This is coming out of 1 into 2. We'll see him over there. We're going to get another look at this again as he's coming down into 1. We'll see what we see here, and just running it really deep there and into the gravel. So
just a little too much speed out of Cantlin there. He seems like he's having a bit of a rough night out here, keeping it on the track. We were talking about Cossack. Andrew Cossack made he made one of the funnier notes I've seen on this track, which is lots of off-camber corners at Zolder, which is great for water management, but challenging for low downforce cars like the FR 500s, which is pretty hilarious. It is truly, you have these corners and they can be deceiving because just the littlest bit of off-camber for a car with no downforce and you're trying to grab onto a track that's falling away from you, it can be extremely difficult. The other thing that is very difficult is when you unsettle these cars on these chicanes by being very aggressive. If you're trying to pull it back with two wheels on the ground, it's gonna be difficult for those tires to maintain that grip. And we've seen more than a few very solid, accomplished racers just not be able to keep it together. So it makes a big difference, what direction those wheels are pointing when you're trying to exert maximum grip. We've got two more slowdowns here. These off tracks are just mounting. I'm going to take a look at some of this stuff.
Car off.
Oh my goodness. That's Jay Bast.
Yeah.
Jay Bast is off now. The incident points here are racking up for people. I'm looking at the timing tower here for. I've been informed by our producer that the timing tower off-track information can be misleading. So I'm not even going to bring that up. What I'm going to say is that I've seen more yellow on the side of this thing than a Steelers football game. So that is not what they're looking for tonight, as two more cars, Wendt and Carl, are both getting yellow flags there. You're going to see some cars by the end of this race end up being disqualified tonight.
Well, actually, we're not because there is no DQ. It is 17X for a drive-through, and then every 8X after that. So there's no disqualification for penalty points. At least that's what I saw in the rules. So they can make several trips through, and there's going to be a bad day if you have to do a drive-through penalty for your off-track limit. But you can still finish the race. So, but yeah, there's lots of people struggling. But Michael Brennan is not one of those guys running in fourth position in the Challenger, leading the Challenger class, but running just outside the overall podium. So he's having himself quite a day.
Yeah, I would say so. Brennan up 5 positions and 5 spots ahead of Hosey. Who is running 9th right now, the next fastest challenger. So that is, look at that livery. That is impressive. I like that Spider-Man livery. That's a very cool look for that car. We're going to pay the bills here, if that's all right.
For sure.
I would love to talk to you a little bit about Chebah Hut. Chebah Hut, look, we've all been there. You're staring at a menu of sad, cold corporate sandwiches and thinking there's got to be something better than this. At Chebah Hut, we've been flipping the bird to the status quo since 1998. We are not just making sandwiches. We are curing the munchies with the dankest toasted subs on the planet. From our signature White Widow to the Cali Mist, every sub is homegrown, toasted to perfection, and served up in a joint where you can actually relax. Need to kill that cotton mouth? We've got local craft beers on tap and plenty of Kool-Aid to keep you hydrated. Whether you're stopping in or you're flying it to your door, we've got exactly what you need to stay stoked. Chebah Hut Toasted Subs. Swing by our shop in your area or order online. Chebah Hut, toasted since 1998.
I still put this out there every time I hear that ad. We need one in Birmingham, Alabama. The closest one we have is Atlanta, Georgia. That's 2.5 hours. DoorDash will not deliver that far. I'm just saying.
It's a long DoorDash.
It is a long DoorDash.
I don't know where the closest one in Iowa is. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I don't know if they have one I don't think they have one in Iowa City. I'm going to be embarrassed if they do. If they do, I'm going there.
There you go.
There you go, Chebah Hut. I'm going to get one of your dank subs at the nearest opportunity, but I will not DoorDash one from Atlanta. So, going back to the tower here. I'm sorry, we have all sorts of stuff going on here. We've got Porter with a slowdown. We've got Hosey with a slowdown. It looks like Hosey went back off the track. There is movement all over the board. Ballant in first place, Kemp, then Porter. Then we have Brennan in the Challenger division. Hosey is the next challenger with Bray. So there's your Challenger podium. Going down to the amateurs, we have Jeff Besnard, and then we have Tom Wendt and Brandon Carl currently right now. We've got a few people that are like Belling was Belling in the lead of this race at one point before he had to go into the pit?
I know he was in the top 3. I think he was running second when he got that black flag. So he was behind Enriquez, I think, who had passed him at the early part of the race. Then Enriquez, with his problem, relinquished that P2 to Belling. But then, so Kennedy in the pits now. So pit stops are now picking up. So I kind of feel like we're in that pit window at this point, as we're seeing cars popping in here to get their fuel for the night. So going to get a look here, as that is a very, very broken car.
As John Casey.
As John Casey coming out, did not even, he was in the pits at the start of the race. And so he is just now at the point that he can come out on the track, and that car does not look good at all.
I am a little bit surprised that that car was able to get out there. I'm not sure what the damage profile is, whether or not you get a free repair, but it sure didn't look like it from that one. Either that or he burned all 9 lives of that cat, because that thing was barely put together. Some of the drivers, like a Belling, though, that did pit early, you're going to see him start to climb up in a hurry here. He's down 24 positions, but he's already got a pit out of the way. The question is whether or not he can make the fuel. I'm going to assume that he can. If he can't, his race is over in a hurry because of that black flag. But the number of people that have managed to get slowdowns here and serve them is just pretty wild. I've received word from the stewards that there is no fast repairs in this entire series. So these guys, if they put one into the wall, into those tire barriers, it is real repair that they are looking at, whether or not they're able to get on the track at all, and if they are, then spending some time getting back on. Cantlin has received a slowdown for going off the track. It's just like we have information coming in on the side here, and it's non-stop people blowing the track limits. So the note from Andrew Kosick that says that it's very difficult to keep this one on the track with some of these off-camber corners is dead on, because it has been a non-stop feed of incident points. So I think you're going to start to see some, like you said, you won't see anyone disqualified, but you will see some maybe stop and go type of situations, or drive-throughs, I guess, would be more appropriate. Just hard to keep these Fords on the track here at Zolder.
Yeah, absolutely. The off-camber followed by the 2010 suspension of these cars, with lots and lots of almost NASCAR-like body roll we're seeing with these old Mustangs. So it's gonna be tough tonight, and we've seen at least the first chicane is causing people some issues with spins, and I think even the second chicane is causing a little bit of slowdowns as well. But I will say this, just going back and look at timing and scoring for Andrew Belling, he came in, but his pit stop was 40 seconds or so longer than everybody else's. So he's going to be able to work his way up the field, but maybe not as quiet as not as far as we might think. So so he got the penalty. So 40 seconds of stoppage time there, which is going to add to the misery of stopping early. So even if he has enough fuel, I don't think he's going to get back up and challenge for a race victory. But he might sneak back in the top 10. We'll just have to wait and see how it works.
Yeah, that's Belling with a 51-second pit there. So that's a long day. That's a long day in the office for Belling. Looking at Weaver here, Weaver's coming into the pits. This is going to be a very tight race. And it's difficult sometimes to see whether or not you're doing well with all of this movement in and out of the pits. But that's what makes this series very interesting, I think, to be able to have these kind of things where you do occasionally. You could see right there, Fernandez, one of the cars in front there, took a slowdown for cutting that track. So we'll see whether or not Fernandez locks it up in this corner here to make everyone else. Oh gosh, I think he just took another one right there, because he really cut that corner. This could be what happens when you get a slowdown during a slowdown.
It just adds to the time. It's you see it. As a matter of fact, even if you don't get a slowdown, if you start taking and taking corners without working that slowdown off, the iRacing will make it go up as opposed to down. So he's got it closed down, but he now has a train behind him of very, very upset drivers that he decided to do that on the racing line, and now has another one. So now more as somebody's coming into the pits. I think that's Cam Porter, as well as Matt Thomsen now coming into the pits as well. Decided he wants to get out of that rush hour traffic there behind David Finch and get into the pits and go ahead and get his stop done.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty clever racing, right? If you're stuck behind in a situation where you just simply can't seem to get away from a guy that's can't keep it on the track, rather than trying to beat your head against a brick wall, just take that pit now, put the fuel in there, come out in a different position on the track and work your way back. And honestly, you probably won't see that guy ever again. Just by the way that this race goes. There's 30 cars out there. They're all going to be moving all over the place. Andrew Belling, like we were saying, still in 23rd position, and I thought that he'd be working his way back up in a hurry, but that pit stop of 50 seconds just did not help his race. I think he might be pretty much done for the night, or at least out of contention. But Ballant here is looking very good, I would say. Do we have a pit? I don't think we have a pit out of a lot of the leaders here. We have no pit time from anybody all the way down to who's our first pit? Maybe Bell?
Yeah, I think our Cam Porter is the first car that has pitted.
There we go.
In P18. So the top 17 yet to pit. Brandon Carl has yet to pit as well. So there are a couple that are actually several that are still out there, but most of it looks like anywhere from about 13.3 to about 15.8. So somewhere in that neighborhood is what I think the general pit stop times are. So
here we go.
Eddie now in the pits as well. So a couple more top 10 runners coming in.
Yep, we're starting to see it. I'm not real sure what the best strategy is for this one. We're 23 minutes into the race here, so we're starting into the back half of the race. Now you're starting to see the top 10 decide to take their pit. Do you like pitting here in the front half and then running long on the tires, or do you want as fresh a tires to the finish of the race as you can, maybe sacrificing some of the speed in the first half?
Yeah, it's I guess it really depends. These cars draft pretty well. I don't know if this is necessarily a draft heavy track. I think there's some, but I don't know that there's just tons. There's not really a lot of long straightaways here. They're broken up pretty well. So, maybe the undercut, not necessarily the best move. So I think you get out there, and if you're in a line, it's you can do either jump into the pits, or you can stay in the line and just fuel save and try and maximize your or minimize your pit time by maximizing your fuel usage while you're out there. So kind of two different schools of thought. If it was more of a draft heavy track, I might want to come in early. I could use some of the cars behind the draft, as we've got now Neil Kemp coming into the pits from second place. So another one of our front runners coming in as some of the other guys stay out. Here comes David Moore as well, as now we're getting some work coming down into pit lane.
Yeah, we're starting to see the people at the very top of the track here starting to come into the pit lane. I think that this track, you talked about the long straightaways. This track is really broken up by those chicanes. You have the two chicanes in the back there that number 5 and I believe it's number 8. They really do break up this long draft here. So the challenge is, are you in a position where you're running fast or not? If you're a guy like Ballant, and you're in clean air, you're just racing yourself and putting down as fast a time as you comfortably can. There's not a lot of reason. Ooh, was that contact? Looked like contact there. There's a black flag now for Porter. I'm not real sure what happened there, but did Porter go slamming in? No, Porter's the one that received that tap there. We're looking at the red and black car of Cam Porter here, and you're going to see contact here. I think it might be after this, or not real sure here.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
I think Porter was maybe serving a slowdown and was off kind of offline.
Oh.
As far left as he could, and then the car behind is maybe not a lot of a lot of situational awareness there. So we're going to get a look here as Porter works his way through the chicane, and you see.
No, I know what this is. This is Porter realizing that he's on the tail end of a slowdown and didn't have enough of it worked off and slammed the brakes on. And so he received a black flag because he did not clear that. So that was. It looks like Andy Bell was the one that hit him there, but Porter, I think that was a self-inflicted injury. There we have Belant in the pits right now.
Black flag for pit entry speed.
Black flag for Brennan. Looks like so he's gonna stop and gosh, I think for an entry like that he's gonna have to do a drive-through.
No, it's 40 seconds.
He gets 40 seconds in the pit added.
And as a matter of fact, it starts as soon as you get stopped. The 40 seconds start, so you can't leave until the penalty and then your pit stop is done. So it is so you don't even get a chance to work it off. You're there. And so unfortunate. So that's going to really, really hurt Brendan having a great run for tonight for sure.
We're on board with Brendan here as he's checking his email and looking at Instagram. Unfortunately, while the rest of the field leaves the pit, and he is all the way down to 15th now, still with that black flag next to him, and it's just a bad day. It's an awful day for him. But you look at Porter. Porter's got a black. We've got black flags everywhere here. We've got slowdowns galore. They're so common on the timing tower right now that I can't keep track of like the new events. Like that's a slowdown right there. It's got to be. He completely. Here's a replay here of Zach Miller. Unfortunately, Miller just gets a little hot into this corner. You could tell already that that back end is just screaming. Manages to keep it there though. That's pretty good. We're back to live here. This is Charlie Hosey, the 100 car. And Hosey is currently in 6th, and he is the leader of the challengers right now, which means that we've had some movement in the challenger section.
Yeah, that was Brennan. Brennan was leading that, was running in 4th, and because of his black flag, he is no longer in the lead. So hands back over to Charlie Hosey, who has got Matt Thomsen all over the rear deck lid there, as Thomsen wants to try and jump up there and maybe challenge those guys in front, those other pro class drivers. And Thomsen, you can see that this guy, he knows what he's doing here behind the wheel of a Mustang, just looking at his driver profile photo as he's taking it through a couple things. And we've talked to him before about his runs at both Laguna and Willow Springs. So the man knows how to drive a Mustang, and he's doing a great job tonight.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of these drivers look like they're struggling, but this is a very, very challenging course here. And with the timing tower right now, what you see is what you get, because everyone has gone into the pits, and so Belant is at 13 seconds ahead. Then we have a 5-second gap between Moore and Fernandez. So cars really separating out here. We're going to pay a few more bills here. I think this is a quick replay of Hosey, and Hosey goes wide. Whoa! Hosey goes real wide on that one, collecting the kitty litter, and it looks like Thomsen is going to clear him as a result of that. Definitely going to be an off track there, possibly a slowdown, but yeah, that was super wide. He's lucky that he managed to keep that on the track. Paying a few bills here. D-nut stuff. When you got the rig, the screens, and the passion, but you're diving into the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, do your pedals feel like a world-class GT3 car or a toy? Well, maybe it's time to upgrade your immersion with D-Nut Stuff. We specialize in high-performance sim racing mods designed to give you the trail-breaking precision and throttle control that you have been missing. From our legendary DNX and HVD pedal kits to custom spacers and clutch mods, we build gear for racers who demand more than just stock. Whether you're a casual Sunday driver or a racing iRacing grinder. Our kits from Fanatec, Simpson, and Heuskenveld. Pedals are engineered to help you find those extra tenths of a second. So stop settling for good enough and start hitting your marks with total confidence. D-Nut Stuff sim racing gear. Serious mods for serious racers. Visit dnutstuff.com and dial in your rig today. I'm not sure if these guys have their rigs dialed in. I think it's this car, honestly. Like, this car is just a very difficult car to drive from all reports. I know that our beloved manager here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, Josh Wilkie, did not have, well, how can I put it? Did not have the most positive things to say about this Ford race car.
Yeah, I've heard Josh talk about it as he's got it in trying to figure it out and is struggling a little bit. But it's it's kind of a throwback car. It is not one of those that it's not a GT3. It's never going to feel like a GT3. So it is very much an old school race car, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get it figured out. So I know that I don't think maybe I've ran a few laps in the car, but just not a lot, and not enough to say that I would be an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But you can absolutely see these guys are some of the best Mustang racers out there, and they're struggling tonight. I mean, it's been a cavalcade of slowdowns and off tracks and incidents and all black flags, everything else. So. If it's doing that, I'm sure some of it to do with the car, but a lot of it to do with the track. And these chicanes are fighting back on these racers tonight.
Yeah, I would say so. We're watching. Our producer, Ron Maunz, is like, are you guys paying attention to this? This is a battle for fourth place, and this is some tremendous fighting here between Fernandez and Finch at the top. But then right behind there, we have Hosey, Thomsen, and Chiquetti all in a train right here. And there's been some movement on this one with some very, very good racing in the corners. A couple people that were able to see, there's Fernandez at the top there, right? Yep. He's in the lead car, and he's going to jam this whole thing up. I got a bad feeling about this one. And you're going to look at some very annoyed racers right behind him trying to make this corner. We're going to see a pass around the outside, maybe. Oh, I'm not sure whether or not Finch pulled that one off, but he is dying to get around, and I'll bet Fernandez doesn't have the speed to be able to pull off this next one. They're going to go too wide into the corner here, and this is going to be real tight. These tires are going to be screaming. So we're coming up onto the start-finish line with everybody in a pile here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars all within like a half, maybe a third of a second here. And here we go with Fernandez into the corner, and it looks like they're going to all stay in their positions as much as they want to go like a starting grid into all this stuff. Holy cow. I don't know how long these tires can hold up. Oh, there we have the off track. That is going to be Hosey going off there, just trying to keep it in line there. But the draft is good, and here we have the move. It is Finch now leading. Will he be able to hold it into the upcoming chicane here? Here we go into the Klein chicane. We've got Finch and Fernandez right on top of each other, and it looks like Fernandez has the inside line into this one. Oh, way off. Way off now out of Finch there. Down. Yep. Oh goodness.
Geez. So now Finch up there in the lead of that group, and is now no longer, as he had the slowdown, had to work that off. We saw P3 just ahead with a slowdown. He's very clear of this group. This group not done battling yet, as now Fernandez with another slowdown. So here comes Finch again, Chiquetti as well, Thomsen and Bass. They're just all on top of each other.
Yeah, Finch is trying real hard to deal with this slowdown while at the same time not losing 5 positions right here. The winner out of this whole thing was Hosey, who managed to put a little bit of separation on and has just taken off and put almost a second and a half. We're getting down to 1 second here, but just some clean air, avoided the slowdowns, avoided the cars with the slowdowns in front of them. And so Finch is able to go around Fernandez here, who is just getting rid of that slowdown as quick as he possibly can. It looks like Chiquetti now taking a shot at him. And there we go again. There is another one that goes off. Who was that? Was that Cicchetti that went off there?
It was.
It was Cicchetti that went off. Man, they're just having such a difficult time holding on to this car in some of these corners and racing it very aggressively. We're 36 minutes into a 40-minute race here. Our leader, Taylor Ballant, as much as I want to show this battle here, Taylor Ballant is just driving away with this thing, reading a newspaper, and probably has a coffee and a cup holder right now. Because it's 15 seconds. Taylor Ballant is so far ahead that it's ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, he's got a great gap. And to answer the question, did Andrew Belling was able to put enough gas in the car? The answer to that question is no. He had to come back down pit road with about 4 minutes left and top the tank. And so now he's back out there. He's going to drop down a little further in the order, down to P25, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a good catch. The answer to that important question is, can you pit 8 minutes into this race? And the answer is no. You have to do it twice. And he sure didn't love a 51-second pit the first time, but he couldn't have loved having to come back. He probably didn't want to see anything to do with his crew chief at that point, who also probably didn't want to see anything to do with him. There we got a car off the road there, and that is Kosick, unfortunately. Kosick having a rough night, although he is still in second in the amateur division. He's in 23rd place and probably wished for a little bit more out of this one. The AM leader there, Jeff Besnard, is in 20th, managing to hold on. You know, sometimes with these particular divisions, you see racers that are ahead and behind, like Hosey's doing phenomenally up there for the Challenger division. But this race has pretty much put the divisions in their right place. There you see a lot of the red at the bottom, unfortunately, a lot of the blue in the middle, and for the most part, I would say, 8/10 of the pro drivers here are at the very top of this race, with the exception of the Challenger Hosey and Cicchetti, who've both had great races.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about Taylor Ballant and Neil Kemp, the top two, big winners tonight are those two drivers, as Enriquez currently in 32nd position, running the championship leader. Andrew Belling in P4 in the championship, currently running in 25th. So Ballant, who is running in 5th, and Kemp, who is running in 2nd, are going to make up. And Jeff Schnackle not here tonight, so those guys are going to pick up massive points,
big points,
and close that gap even further in the Pro Championship.
Yep, we are on board here. Taylor Ballant, we are watching Ballant drive around as though he is on a track day doing laps by himself, which is pretty accurate here. He just had fantastic times there. Oh, there's a fight here between Cicchetti and it looks like, is that Fernandez? Cicchetti and Fernandez, and then right behind them is Matt Thomsen. Holy smokes, this is going to be tight here. We've got, oh my goodness, are we going to see Fernandez come around? No, we're going to see Cicchetti take the inside line here, maybe. Fernandez, Cicchetti, and Thomsen going back and forth, depending on who has the inside. It's whoever's on the top of the timing tower. And it looks like the inside right now is Fernandez. It's so hard to tell. They're like it's just flipping back and forth. This is a tremendous fight in the last lap here. Ballant's won this thing. We're not even going to bother showing it. That thing is over. But we have a tremendous battle here for 6, 7, and 8 here. Look at this. Look how tight this is going in. This is going to be tough. We have them. They're just sending it over there too wide into the chicane. That is not the doctor's advice for sure, but they managed to pull that off without incident, which is pretty astonishing given the night's course here. That is Fernandez now in 3rd, Cicchetti and Thomsen ahead. Here we go with the leader, Ballant, just winging around the last corner. Congratulations to him. Kemp pulling around in 2nd, doing a nice tribute there to the fans there, and it looks like Moore has got a pretty decent gap there, but he will be coming around. We are back here with Fernandez. Looks like Fernandez is going to be ahead of Thomsen, and I believe that is Cicchetti in the front there.
Yep.
There's Cicchetti. So they've managed to separate a little bit. Cicchetti, Thomsen, Fernandez. And that's how it's going to finish, folks. There won't be any more movement there. We have Hosey here in 4th place with a tremendous Tremendous race out of Hosey. Congratulations to him. Almost made the actual podium there. This is Jeff Besnard, who is the amateur leader, and he's in 20th place. He's going to be pulling around the last few corners here, and barring anything catastrophic, it looks like he will be finishing with some points on that one. A good few spots, 3 spots away from Andy Kosick, who is your next podium for the amateurs there. So nice race out of Jeff Besnard.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a great run tonight to get a top 20 as well as the amateur class victory. So he's going to pick up some points here. As we all know, as Laura Wiseman there, the worst place to get a slowdown or a black flag. She got a slowdown coming out of the final corner and didn't clear it in time, crossed the finish line, and so that changes it from a slowdown to a black flag, and that's going to be 40 seconds added to her time at the end. So that's going to probably drop her a few more positions in the finishing order, unfortunately.
Oof. That is rough. We're going to go to a quick commercial break here, and then we'll be back with some interviews and the final results.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingveld Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, SimJack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often.
Brakes are one of the most important parts of a race car, and serious racers know this to be true. In sim racing, brakes are just as important as in real-life racing. But even if you have a great pedal set with a killer D-Nut Stuff brake mod installed, there is still one thing you need to win races: consistency. Introducing Brake Marker Buddy, a D-Nut Stuff sim hub app with a corny name for iRacing that can help a lot with braking consistency. Brake Marker Buddy is an overlay that gives you visual cues when you are at your braking points. Set as many brake markers around the track as you need, and never overshoot a braking point again. Listen, nothing can magically find your braking points for you. Brake Marker Buddy doesn't do that. What it will do is make you more consistent, and consistency wins races.
Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
I can't count the times a race has been ruined by an AI car. The default iRacing AI drives like you are not even there much of the time. If you're like me, you want AI that is fun to race, not a demolition derby. I have spent a ton of time adjusting these AI rosters to make them as realistic as possible. The D-Nut Stuff adjusted AI rosters are more like racing a real person. The adjusted AI rosters will drive much, much cleaner than the default settings. Check them out. You won't regret it.
We are back, and we are taking a look at Taylor Blunt here, who's just warming up the engine here to pull off some donuts, which is truly deserved. An amazing, amazing race out of him on a very, very difficult track. Spin those tires and send it around, because you earned first place there at Zolder when everyone else managed to find a way to hit as many off tracks as they possibly could. Taylor Blunt just drove away with this thing, Charles.
He absolutely did. He had some help. Obviously, a couple of our front runners went by the wayside there with issues, and but Taylor, only had about a 3-second or so lead there when the incident started happening. But you could just tell, man, did not put a foot wrong here tonight, as wins by over 18 seconds. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. You could just tell that he had it on lock, and probably didn't have a slowdown the entire race and just made it look easy.
Yep, absolutely. Our race results here: Ballant in first, Kemp, then Moore. Hosey, just can't say enough about Hosey's race tonight. Just a very, very good race, and some tough racing in those corners. Finch and Cicchetti didn't make life easy for him. Then we have Thomsen, Fernandez, Bast, and your top 10. The next challenger with Brian Kennedy. Moving down to find the amateur there. Let's see if we can scroll down a little bit here. We had, I guess through 11, we had Brandon Smith. Then we had Bray Weaver, Gazenda, Brennan Miller, Jansen, and Labano up to 18. Scrolling down, we have Nickham. There's Besnard, our first amateur there. And Sancinelli in 21. Cossack, the second amateur. Belling with an unfortunate race. Not quite as unfortunate as, was it Enriquez?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a super difficult race for him. And then we have Bell, Carl, Wiseman, with that real tragic one at the end there. She should have been a little bit higher, but had a black flag on the last turn. And then Porter and Cantlin went in 29, Casey 30, Eichmann 31, Wolf. There's Enriquez, and unfortunately 33. He didn't really get racing here. As a matter of fact, everybody from Eichmann, Wolf, Enriquez, and Andrus really never took part in this race. And it looks like John Casey only did, he was 7 laps down too, so he might have ended a little bit early. Let's go into the interview room and let's pull in some people. I'm going to pull in our race winner here, Taylor Ballant. Charles, you want to say hi to Taylor Ballant?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring Taylor in here and we'll have a chat with him. Taylor, congratulations on the race victory tonight. Obviously, a couple of your major competitors up front had early trouble and just kind of left you to yourself. And you said, okay, I think I'll just go run really fast laps and I'll just win by 18 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story. I honestly pulled that qualifying lap out. That was my PB by over a tenth. I wasn't sure that I was going to get pole on this one. I mean, I had practiced quite a bit, but I knew Andrew Bailing had a ton of pace, and I was pretty convinced he was going to slide a fast lap in there at the end. Said I messaged him real quick. He said he had an off track or something that took out his last lap, basically. Otherwise, he probably would have been competing with me for the pole spot. And then, yeah, I guess he got some slowdowns during the race. I didn't see what happened to Luis Enriquez. I'm actually trying to look at the replay right now. It looks like he got himself a couple slowdowns too, but then I'm pretty sure he hit the wall in the last chicane. I'm looking at the replay now.
Yeah.
Oh, he hit the wall going into the pit lane. Okay.
Yeah, well, he straight lined that braking zone there going into pit entry, and I think just out of frustration, just murdered his car on the way in. So I don't know if it was there was something else going on, but obviously just kind of looked like I think that might have been it.
He drove into the wall in the pit lane at a pretty good high speed. Okay,
he
all right.
He did indeed. Yeah. So excuse me. Slowdowns, off tracks, big story here or not. Did you have a slowdown the entire race?
No, I never once had a slowdown. I kind of knew going in, like I had talked about it with a bunch of guys in the practice sessions. I was like, guys, this race is going to be a race of who can keep it clean. To go really fast here, you have to push those track limits. You have to know what curbs you can jump and how to jump them. But anybody that gets a slowdown is gonna, that's gonna be immediately like taking you out of the competition for the win. So that was one of the things I really practiced was, hey, even early on, I'm not gonna push. I'm not gonna try to do really fast laps. Although somehow I pulled out a 38.7 or a 38.7 right off the bat, which again was one of the fastest lap I've ever done here. So I don't know where it came from tonight, to be honest with you guys. It was magical out there. The car was doing it for me. What else can I say?
There you go, James.
Oh no, I was gonna say that like the field raced hard behind you, and so there were slowdowns everywhere. And the fact that you were able to pull that qualifying lap out, I really think made the difference for you. So before we let you go here, is there anybody you want to thank, or anybody you'd like to thank for sponsors?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first I got to thank these BF Goodrich tires, apparently, because they put a magical set on there for me tonight, both for qualifying and the race. And Go Setups has been a huge thing lately. Really appreciate them. Really looking forward to the Sim Gaming Expo. Big thanks to DNut Stuff and Chebah Hut for sponsoring the series. Big thanks to Mike and Ed for keeping this thing going, giving us a really cool league to race in on Tuesday nights. And thanks to Slow Motion Broadcasting, you guys, for putting this thing all together. And last but not least, shout out to my wife and my mom, who I know love watching the broadcast and following along with my races. Love you guys.
There you go, Taylor Blunt. Thank you so much for stopping in the booth. Congratulations on the victory tonight. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Congratulations, Taylor. Let's pull in Charles Hosey. Charles Hosey, you had a fantastic race, finishing 4th, but more importantly, at the top of the Challenger division here, you raced neck and neck with these pros and made them earn it. It was tough racing out there. How'd the race go for you?
Yeah, it was tough. I was pumped that I qualified so well. I was a little surprised, but I botched the start. Thought I had that down after what I think my 10th season here in AMS, and nope, just spun it and slipped way back to like 15th. So I had to fight my way back up to the front, and it wasn't easy. But I guess there was some attrition going on there. I have to watch the broadcast, but it seems like there might have been some wrecks or maybe some poorly timed pit stops. I pit a couple laps early, definitely helped.
Yeah, tell me about that. When did you decide to pit? Because I think you were one of the first in the top 10 to really get in there.
Yeah, you don't want to pit too early because then you can underfuel. So I think I had 2 laps extra fuel. I looked at the iRacing now gives you your where you'd roughly come out, and it looked like it was not too shabby, clean air, and I went for it, and I didn't screw up and hit any of those chicane barriers. This pit lane is kind of crazy, and I know some other people had some issues. So yeah, maybe it was one in pit lane.
Yeah, the entrance to pit lane was a little bit problematic. There was more than a few black flags, but the racing out there going into some of these chicanes was incredibly tight, and you were involved in a few in a few close battles there. Was there any particular area of the track that you thought that you could really get ahead on?
Yeah, it's that final chicane, I think. That was kind of like if you cut it too much on the left, you're going to get a slowdown. And if you go trail out too wide, you run the risk of hitting that wall. But iRacing allows you to cut that right-hand apex coming out of it pretty well. So if you nailed it, you got a huge run going into turn 1, the left-hander, and that was seemed like a great place to pass. At least for me tonight, it was.
Yeah, we just saw a replay of you going over it, and you do get pretty aggressive with those turns there. That green area, though, is, I believe, safe boundaries for you. Yep. Is there anyone you want to say hi to, or any sponsors you want to thank before we let you go here?
Yeah, as always, thanks Ed, Mike, Chebah Hut, and everybody, Slow Motion Broadcasting, and of course my wife for giving me the time to do this. Very much appreciated. Well, congratulations. It was an excellent race out of you, and good luck in the future. Thanks. See you guys. All right, Charles, let's pull in Jeff Besnard, and you can say hello to Mr. Besnard.
Jeff Besnard, congratulations on the AM class victory tonight. Had a great race, up 11 positions tonight. So you climbed your way up the ladder and gave yourself a pretty comfortable gap to the first challenger behind.
Yeah, had a good run through the traffic, stuffed up qualifying and started up near the back, but it was good fun, good race, nice and clean, and no problems.
Yeah, so obviously, as we talked about with the other guys, this is one of those places where slowdowns and off tracks kind of get in your way, in your mind a little bit, and it seems like the ones who kind of handle those the best seem to be to get really good results tonight.
Yep. Well, I've only been trying for about 9 seasons. So.
Well, you accomplished it tonight, so congratulations. And obviously, I think it's Barber next week. Is that right? Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Barber next week. So how are you feeling about? Is it Sebring next week? Oh, I'm sorry, Sebring next week. My mistake. I apologize profusely. I get Barber on my mind because that's my home track. But Sebring kind of feels like it's going to be another one of those where is kind of a battle between car and track, as Sebring obviously very, very bumpy and probably not conducive to making these Mustangs run very fast.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing with this class is we've got the best setup guy in the business in Matt Thomsen, and he always gives us a great setup, and just like to thank Matt very much.
There you go. And we'll give you a chance to thank anybody else you want to thank before we let you go there.
Well, of course, Edgar and Mike Nickham have put so much into keeping this great league going, and it's just so good. And last of all, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Titan Seat Belt Tensioners. You can't frighten a Titan.
Jeff Besnard, thank you very much, and good morning to you from apparently down under. So good way to start a Wednesday morning, I guess, right?
Good on you. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, congratulations again, and thank you very much, Jeff Besnard, our AM class winner tonight. And that is it for our interviews. And so back to you, James.
Yes, so we're going to take a little bit of a look here on what's coming up next in slow motion broadcasting here. We have the F3 Fix Series tomorrow, and that is going to be at Zandvoort. Then we go Ray Esports on the 23rd, and that will be in Navarra. Mm-hmm. The American Muscle Series returns to Sebring on Tuesday, the 25th at 9 p.m. Then we have the F4s for the Sim Racers group at Lime Rock, followed by the F3s at Barber. Incidentally, the F4s immediately after this are going to be at Road America. Right following this, I'll be jumping into another broadcast booth and calling that one. The Rick Motec GTC GT3 Challenge Series will be at Long Beach. Then we have Brands Hatch for Ray Esports and their summer series, and the American Muscle Series finally is at Barber. You were just a week early on Barber.
A week early. Yeah, a week early, and that's actually the day before my birthday. So I'll be tuning in to the Barber race for both them, and the last season of the F3s with SRG is they are going to move to the Indy Lights next season, or Indy NXTs. I'm sorry,
the Indy NXTs.
Yeah,
yes,
so.
The Indy NXTs are going to be a very interesting change for that particular series. That's the series that I race in, and it will be a lot of fun. The change needed to happen, but thank you very much for joining me tonight. You were watching the American Muscle Series on slow motion broadcasting, and so on behalf of Ron Maunz, Racing Ron Maunz in the truck, who did a fantastic job with production tonight, literally in our ears the entire time saying, there's a wreck, there's a slowdown, there's a wreck. It's nonstop, and God knows how he was able to get us those replays so fast. So a special thanks to Ron Maunz for tonight. On behalf of my broadcasting cohort here, Charles Bochelle, thank you very much for watching the American Muscle Series on slow motion broadcasting. I'm James McDonald, wishing you happy hairpins and clear straights.